Hello, welcome to today's episode of OurVentura TV. My name is Robert Perks and I'll be your host. Today's guest is Bill Hubina, otherwise known as Blinky. Welcome to the show, Blinky.
Thank you.
Pleasure to have you. You're the owner of the Ventura Surf Shop.
That's correct.
And you surf. Tell us a bit about your history here in Ventura.
Well, let's see. I started coming to Ventura surfing in the early 60s and went to Ventura College in 1961. And I started surfing quite a bit at that point. Then I worked in the trades, industry. Started surfing, well, 1963, started in the surfing industry myself.
Okay. And
I'm still in it. So I've been around a long time and surfing Ventura.
As a resident and a surfer in Ventura, what would you say the role in the community or the effect on the community of surfing in general?
Well, surfing is a great thing for Ventura. California Street has forever been a destination surf spot. It's like in the early surfing, I mean, you went to Malibu, you went to Ventura Point, the C Street, you went to Rincon, you might have gone to Doheny. There was, early surfing years, there was really, a dozen surf spots that all the people went to. So people try for hundreds of miles to go surfing. So we've got a lot of people coming to Ventura from other towns and other areas. So, and fortunately in Ventura, we have a surf spot that breaks pretty much all year round. Takes all the swells, south swells, north swells, west swells. A few swells we don't get as good as we could because we're blocked by the Channel Islands, but pretty much we have surf all the time in Ventura. If there's surf running out there, we have waves.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, and just for clarification, when we say swell, we're talking about waves that travel across the ocean from different parts of the Pacific. Yeah. And in the years that you've been here, I'm sure you've seen quite a bit of change. Can you tell me a bit about the change? I mean, roll the time clock back and.
Well, there's a lot of change. In the late 50s and early 60s, we didn't have wetsuits. So I mean that was it. We didn't see wetsuits till the early 62, 63, middle 60s really started doing it. So, I mean, you went out there in trunks, you froze.
Yeah.
I mean, I had friends that lived right at the point in this house, and we'd all go surfing, then run for the shower, which was kind of nice. And you could open the shower window and watch guys surf. Yeah. And we had fun, running people out of water, so the next guy wouldn't have any. But Ventura, I mean, there was not a handful, but there weren't a lot of surfers in the early 60s in Ventura. And then the sport, as it increased and the exposure of different surf films and stuff, over the years it's got to be more and more popular. But yeah, great sport. But Ventura's changed a lot. When I first surfed here, California Street and the fairgrounds, to go up to the fairgrounds to surf was a real journey. That was where the stables was. The fair actually had stables for horses up there. And there was this pipe that ran out in the ocean that just had all the stuff from all the oil industries and Ventura Avenue coming out of this pipe. Well, the water was always warmer there, and the rocks were kind of mossy. So it wasn't real good water, but the surf was always good. And C Street itself was a lot different in a lot of ways than it is now. There were sand dunes out there with ice plants, and the Ventura Pier, which went over harbor, you'd have waves coming clean under Ventura Pier, almost to Harbor Boulevard. So a lot of stuff has changed. When they put all the jetties in, they put the 7 jetties in, and that collected sand and changed everything. So, but we still have great waves.
What does surfing do for you? What keeps you stoked over all these years to keep surfing as part of your life?
Oh, it's exciting. I love it. It's a thrill. And every day is a learning experience. It's healthy. It's just something that I really enjoy. I've spent my whole life at it. I shape surfboards. I have the best job in the world because I work in a surf shop. I look forward to going to work every day. And then I see people I see friends for years that have come by. And so it's always it's always a social thing. I've met friends up and down the coast. Like if I go to Santa Cruz, I have friends that live up there. If I go to San Diego, I have buddies that live down there. I'll go to a certain destination, I have buddies that I surf with. So it's once you make friends in surfing, you stay friends for a long time. The guys I grew up surfing with are still my best friends. And I've known guys from high school that I still surf with. So it's a sport. It's a hard sport to learn, but it's fun learning it. And there's every wave is exciting. And I'll be 69 in November. I still surf as aggressively as I can. And I think that I'm surfing really well. Of course, other people look at a 69, maybe I'm not, but I'm having a good time at it.
Yeah, that's in my experience, that's the key. If you're having fun,
yeah,
that's what made it worth doing. Yeah. Every surfer, every athlete I've ever talked to that does something for life will still have one story. It may not be the biggest day, the hardest day, but there's one story that sticks in their mind. And I can see you're smiling about that. Can you share one of those with me?
Well, I have a lot of stories about surfing. I remember going on a lot of adventures up to Hollister Ranch surfing. You know, I've gone out to Channel Islands surfing, but I remember one time when Carl Pope and Tom Morey and I and a guy named Dale Hurd we all worked together making surfboards. And Morey and Pope went and bought a boat. And we went and launched at Gaviota and went to the Hollister Ranch. And it was a perfect south swell. Good, 8-foot, 10-foot faces. I mean, as perfect as you want to get to. And we surfed Percos, and that was Percos. We surfed a place called Government Point. And then we ended up surfing Coho for quite a while. We had excellent surf all day long. I was riding some of the best waves I'd ever seen in my life. But it was always funny because Maury Pope were trying to be captain of the boat, and then the boat broke on the way back, and we had this big thing going to how we get back to the Gaviota Pier. But you get a northwest wind, so it ended up with us all holding our surfboards up on the boat and sailing back to the Gaviota Pier. So that's just one story, and I could go through stories every day.
As far as the way for somebody to get into the sport, you've obviously been doing it most of your life. Mm-hmm. Accessibility for new people. What kind of advice would you give to somebody who just moved to town and says, I want to learn to surf?
Well, I do this every day, because every day someone comes in wanting to learn to surf. And basically, I think a person wanting to learn to surf should either have a friend that can teach them a little bit or take a lesson and learn the basics. And then you want to be on a surfboard that's way too big for you to catch a lot of waves, get your wave count up. If you're normally would surf a 9-foot board, get on a 10-foot board, catch more waves. Because you're going to learn at places like Mondo's and places where other surfers don't go or where beginners are, and these waves roll a lot, so you don't have the energy to push the board like normally you'd need, and you don't have the experience to ride the waves. So I say getting a bigger board, taking some lessons, and then it's just a school of hard knocks. But what's nice about it is that every day when you learn something, you get excited, and you come back the next day. So learning is a lot of fun for anybody. And then, as you get better, you'll do something. What's so neat about surfing is, like, if you watch the kids surfing now, I mean, years ago, people weren't doing the things kids do now. The kids get out there, and they see somebody in a surf movie hit the lip, do a flip in the air and everything. They go, wow, that's cool, I can do that. Because they've seen somebody do it. Mm-hmm. So you got kids trying stuff that people have never done. So, and that's an exciting thing. It's like surfing. As soon as you're learning and you make a good turn, or you walk towards the nose, or you get a nose ride, you get so excited the next day you want to go back for more. And it's a forced exercise. So my wife, if I have a little pot belly or a little, stuff around my hips, if I surf for about a week or two, it disappears. So she likes me surfing.
Well, it's good. For somebody either new or old, in your opinion, what makes Ventura and our area special as a place to come not only to surf, to visit, but to hold you here? What keeps you here?
Well, the surfing is great, but Ventura too is still really a small town. It's not a great big city. And it does have a lot of things that we do. We have a lot of recreational places open. We have a lot of surfing beach. We have probably more surfing beach than hardly about any other town. You can surf all the way from Point Magoo, all the way to, Rincon. We have the whole stretch along Rincon to surf, Emma Wood, Beach Breaks, McGrath, all the river mouth, Santa Clara, all the jetties on Pierpont. you can find a wave where a lot of people can't. And like I was saying before, we always have some kind of surf, you know. It's not always the best surf, but when it gets good, it gets good. We've had 2 weeks of incredible surf. This last week has been unbelievable for Ventura. We've had warm water, which we never really get. People have been trunky and using spring suits. And the surf's been head high and consistently. Today the surf finally went down. But some people were worn out to where they didn't care if they surfed today. You know, so we've had some good surf.
For somebody that wanted to start too, what kind of gear? I mean, I know you said a larger board.
Yeah.
What would somebody need to get started?
You need a wetsuit first off, and a decent wetsuit. You know, you need 3.2 is your best all-around wetsuit. You know, if you're surfing a lot and you're surfing early mornings, you get a little thicker wetsuit. But for generally, if you're going to surf for an hour or two, you can get away with 3.2. They're relatively inexpensive, but you want a good wetsuit.
When you say 3.2, that's the thickness of the
Yeah,
wetsuit, the rubber. It's
exactly,
okay.
In millimeters. You know, where the arms are 2 millimeter and the body's a 3 millimeter, and your legs in the water part of it 3 and 2, and you know the arms are flexible so you can paddle.
If somebody wanted to find out more information about something like this, where would be a good resource to expand their knowledge?
Well, you can go to just about any surf shop. You know, they always have people to help you. You know, our store, you know, people come in, we give them surf reports on the phone, we help them any way we can, but every surf shop in Ventura will help you. And there's a lot of people you meet on the beach, you know. There's great surfing schools, you know, classes, and so, yeah, I think it's easy. It's a pretty much friendly town. You know, when you're first beginning, you know, you don't want to go out in the point in the middle of all of it on a good day. You know, you want to be in a place where there aren't a lot of other surfers.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Blinky, for coming out today.
It's a pleasure.
You've been watching Our Ventura TV. My name is Robert Perks. I've been your host. Our guest was Bill Hubina, otherwise known as Blinky.